Whether you a man or woman, you are not exempt to
Shabbat shalom to the brethren.
but you are also equally saved.
Grand rising. Get on up.
Jack, talk to me.
We about to redo this Testament of Judah. I've done it before, but I was in a rush for time at that moment, so I didn't read the whole Testament. I read about half of it. You know, so about to go back in, read the whole thing. You know,
I just want to take a moment for worship.
about to get into it.
This is not about your tradition.
Something ain't right
This
with
ain't
the
about what
speaker,
church you
dude.
go to. I could care less. This is about being human and crying unto God and thanking God for everything that He's brought you through, recognizing Him as Creator. We all been through a lot, and we know He's been with us. So Heavenly Father, if you just would accept this, we want to give you glory simply because
you're the Heavenly Father, great I am. You're King Jehovah. You hold the world in your hands. You're the Prince of Peace, the one who supplies my needs. Yeah. So let your will be done. I surrender my life to you.
Our Father who art in heaven, have mercy upon the brethren. When you sacrifice the Passover, it cleans out all the leaven from the house which represents our sin. To you we all indebted. Our lives were in bankruptcy, but Christ established all our credit. You always had a plan to grant this man a second chance. The resurrection and our faith in it tells us your blessing stands. Since you grabbed us, who can snatch us out your precious hands? Nobody or nothing formed. I bow my head and spread my hands. Hallelujah.
Crying out to thee, Heavenly Father, hear my plea. Show your hand, please give me strength. When the weight of this world seems to draw me away from your plans, Father, your will be done. Your will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. Let your will be done. Let your will be done. On earth as it
Many will only believe if they see signs and miracles. Blinded to your work of turning carnal into spiritual. Now believers say you don't exist, at best you're mythical. How could a loving God see us suffer and leave us miserable? I ask him how you blame the Lord for what some men have did to you. Oh, by the way, when will you admit that you've been criminal and mortal, being questioned by mortal individuals? Don't worry, you can ask him at your judgment day interview. The days of man are a vapor filled with unrighteous behavior. We spite the Creator, no concern for the life of our neighbor. Like when Christ's disciples argued over which one might be greater. That's the selfish trait of sin. The spirit must take out our nature. Wickedness you despise, justice is what you advise. Hearers don't impress you on your team, it's really do or die. Through the grace you provide, I wanna be the son you describe, who's walking in faithfulness and not evil when you arrive. Father,
set my heart on fire. My soul is crying out to you. You're my heart's desire. There's no way that I can live without you. Cause you are the air I breathe, and you are just what I need. I give my life to you. Do what you do. Father, your will be done. That your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Let your will be done. Let your will be done. God said you're beautiful. Said I never seen nothing quite like you before. Never seen anything as beautiful. Never seen nothing quite like this before. Never seen anything as beautiful. I've never seen nothing quite like you before. I've never seen anything as beautiful. Never seen nothing quite like you before, yeah. Never seen anything as beautiful. Hey, yeah. You're my comfort when I become hurt and don't sleep nights or even eat right without the heat tight. We did dumb dirt in them street lights, making guns squirt, couldn't think right. Such a young jerk, making my mother so concerned, knowing if I'm caught in karma's spell in the arms that heal my soul to burn, surpassing the point of no return. Trapped in a war I'll never win, degrading my soul status until I lay with what I'm better than. Addicted to these wicked jewels, the stick we use to measure men. Pride is always tricking fools and ridicules a clever sin. I've never known a better friend. You never hung me out to dry. Now that I think about it, you hung yourself, went out to die. I was in slavery, but you paid for me in my freedom papers. How can they debate with me when I taste and see that I need you, say? And they say beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. When it seems my eyes can't climb away. And Lord, I trust you, let me cry upon your shoulder. And this worship's how I kiss you, I'ma be with you till my dying day. Never seen nothing quite like you before. Never seen anything as beautiful. Never seen nothing quite like this before. Never seen anything as beautiful. I've never seen nothing quite like you before. I've never seen anything as beautiful.
Shabbat Shalom.
Never
What's up?
seen
We about to get started.
nothing quite like you
About to get started on this
before.
thing.
Never seen anything as beautiful, yeah. Super good. Trying to be L will make the beat out, see.
That's why I lift his name up, yay. My Jesus can really raise up, yay. The devil, he really ain't tough. Giving God my all, so my Jesus is who I call him. That's why I lift his name up, yay. My Jesus can really raise up.
Oh yeah. Something about that rain, man. We're gonna get started real quick. We'll get started. Turn it down a taste. All right. We in there. About to get started with the Testament of Judah. Some of us believe is our forefather, direct descendant. Let's get into it. All right, there we go. The Testament of Judah, chapter 1, the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. Judah, the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. He is the giant, athlete, warrior. He recounts heroic deeds. He runs so fast that he can outstrip a hind. The copy of the words of Judah. What things he spake to his sons before he died. They gathered themselves together, therefore. Hold on, I'm gonna take this rain off of here. It's bothering me more than it's helping me. Hold on. I guess we get a little something in the back. Just a taste in the back. All right. They gathered themselves together, therefore, and came to him. And he said to them, this is Judah about to die. And before he dies, he wants to tell his children and grandchildren the story of his life and the prophecy about future events. So he's calling his children around his bed. It says, and he said to them, hearken, my children, to Judah, your father. I was the fourth son born to my father, Jacob, and Leah, my mother, named me Judah, saying, I give thanks to the Lord, because he hath given me a fourth son also. I was swift in my youth and obedient to my father in everything. And I honored my mother and my mother's sister, his Aunt Rachel. And it came to pass when I became a man that my father blessed me, saying, thou shalt be a king, prospering in all things. And the Lord showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and in the house. I know that I raced a hind and caught it and prepared the meat for my father, and he did eat. And the roes I used to master in the chase and overtake all that was in the plains. Basically, he used to chase deers, okay, and catch them and kill them on foot. A wild mare I overtook and caught it and tamed it. It's a horse. I slew a lion and plucked a kid out of its mouth. I took a bear by its paw and hurled it down the cliff, and it was crushed. I outran the wild boar, and seizing it as I ran, I tore it asunder. It's like a huge pig. A leopard in Hebron leaped upon my dog, and I caught it by the tail and hurled it on the rocks, and it was broken in twain. I found a wild ox feeding in the fields, and seizing it by the horns and whirling it round and stunning it, I cast it from me and slew it. And when the two kings of the Canaanites came sheathed in armor against our flocks and much people with them, single-handed I rushed upon the king of Hazor and smote him on the graves and dragged him down, and so I slew him. The other, the king Tapua, as he sat upon his horse, I slew, and so I scattered all his people. Achor, the king, a man of giant stature, I found, hurling javelins before and behind as he sat on his horse. And I took up a stone of 60 pounds weight and hurled it and smote his horse and killed it. You got some people hitting you up, man. They're all on my screen. And killed it. And I fought with this other for 2 hours, and I clave his shield in twain, and I chopped off his feet and killed him. And as I was stripping off his breastplate, behold, 9 men, his companions, began to fight with me. And I wound my garment on my hand, and I slung stones at them, and killed 4 of them, and the rest fled. So King David ain't the first one to kill somebody with stones and a slingshot. And Jacob, my father, built. Now, this is a story a lot of people don't know. We know that King David killed Goliath, who was a giant, right? But what we don't know is that Goliath was not the only giant. He came from a family of giants, okay? And Jacob, my father, slew Bilsat, king of all the kings, a giant in strength, 12 cubits high. If I'm not mistaken, I think Goliath was like 9 cubits, right? Goliath was 9 cubits. Jacob killed a man that was 12 cubits high. And fear fell upon them, and they ceased warring against us. Therefore, my father was free from anxiety in the wars when I was with my brethren, for he saw in a vision concerning me that an angel of might followed me everywhere, that I should not be overcome. And in the south there came upon us a greater war than that in Shechem. And I joined in battle array with my brethren, and pursued 1,000 men, and slew of them 200 men, and 4 kings. And I went up upon the wall, and I slew 4 mighty men. When they speak of mighty men, they talking about men that's like powerful. A lot of them tall, known for killing people. These are like, you know, on the they, above average men when they say mighty men. He killed 4 of them. And so we captured Hazor and took all the spoil. And the next day we departed to Aratan, a city strong and walled and inaccessible, threatening us with death. But I and Gad approached on the east side of the city, and Reuben and Levi on the west. And they that were upon the wall, thinking that we were alone, were drawn down against us. And so my brothers secretly climbed up the wall on both sides by stakes and entered the city, while the men knew it not. And we took it with the edge of the sword. And as those who had taken refuge in the tower, we set fire to the tower and took both it and them. And as we were departing, the men of Tapua seized our spoil, and seeing this, we fought with them, and we slew them all, and recovered our spoil. And when I was at the waters of Kozeba, the men of Jobel came against us to battle, and we fought with them and routed them, and their allies from Shiloh we slew, and we did not leave them power to come in against us. And the men of Machir came upon us the 5th day to seize our spoil, and we attacked them and overcame them in fierce battle. For there was a host of mighty men amongst them, and we slew them before they had gone up the ascent. And when we came to their city, their women rolled upon us stones from the brow of the hill on which the city stood. And I and Simeon and ourselves behind the town seized upon the heights and destroyed this city also. And the next day it was told us that the king of the city of Gaash, with a mighty host was coming against us. I, therefore, and Dan feigned ourselves to be Amorites. Amorites would have to be black too, I'm sure. And his allies went into their city. And in the depth of night, our brethren came, and we opened to them the gates, and we destroyed all the men and their substance. And we took for a prey all that was theirs, and their 3 walls we cast down, and we drew near to Thamna, where was all the substance of the hostile kings. Then, being insulted by them, I was therefore wroth, and rushed against them to the summit, and they kept slinging against me the stone. You know, we wonder why all the nations hate us, right? But if you think about these letters and you think about what Judah is saying, man, we've been killing these people. We've been killing these people forefathers from the beginning, man. They killing nations. These cities are like family lines of people, of nations that they killing. And it's legends and stories about these murders. So the people who left are taught about how them Hebrew boys came through and killed all the men, because the women get to stay alive and the children, a lot of them. It depends, you know, but it's just legends circulating about the Hebrew boys killing everybody. That's just, you know, something to think about. And had not Dan, my brother, aided me, they would have slain me. We came upon them, therefore, with wrath, and they all fled, and passing by another way, they fought my father, and he made peace with them. And we did to them no hurt, and they became tributary to us, and we restored them. See, this is another reason why when they tried to sell Joseph into slavery, they was worried, because he could have been one of them Hebrew boys, and then nobody would have nothing to do with taking something from one of them Hebrew boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were scared to death. They like, tell us where you from, man. Who are you? We don't want no beef with these people. Anyway, and I built Thamna, and my father built Pei-Baal. I was 20 years old when this war.
You were saying P?
Huh?
You were saying P?
Yeah.
Man say R.
Rabael? I don't know. That's Pei-Baal. And the Canaanites feared me and my brethren. And I had much cattle, and I had for chief herdsman Aram and Aram the Adulamite. And when I went to him, I saw Persaba, king of Adulam, and he spake unto us, and he made us a feast. And when I was heated, he gave me his daughter Batsua to wife. She bare me and Onan and Shelah, and 2 of them the Lord smote. For Shelah lived, and his children are ye. Chapter 2. Judah describes some archaeological findings, a city with walls of iron and gates of brass. He has an encounter with an adventuress. Verse 1. And 18 years my father abode in peace with his brother Esau. They don't talk about this in the regular Bible. They don't tell you about 18 years. And his sons with us. After that, we came from Mesopotamia, from Laban. This is when he met him on the way. But I want to say Jasher tells us that angels appeared to Esau, war angels, and let him know, like, don't mess with Jacob, or it's going to be a problem. That's what made him get his mind right, not because he missed him. And when 18 years were fulfilled, in the 40th year of my life, Esau, the brother of my father, came upon us with a mighty and strong people. And Jacob smote Esau with an arrow, and he was taken up wounded on Mount Seir. And as he went, he died at and Aram, and we pursued after the sons of Esau.
I got a question. In the regular book, don't it say somebody else killed Esau?
Yeah, I think it say one of the sons did it. I think he killed him on the horse or something. Now they had a city with walls of iron and gates of brass, and we could not enter into it, and we encamped around and besieged it. And when they opened not to us in 20 days, I set up a ladder in the sight of all, and with my shield upon my head, I went up, sustaining the assault of stones, upwards of 3 talents weight, and I slew 4 of their mighty men. And Reuben and Gad slew 6 others. Then they asked from us terms of peace, and having taken counsel with our father, we received them as tributaries. That's a common thing with our people in the scripts. When people sought peace with us and like begged for peace, they got it. That's another reason why you can't count all the heathens out. You know what I'm saying? It's not Israel only. Because if people seek peace, it said, blessed are the peacemakers, right? So it has to be a opening of peace, a possibility of peace if a person seek it. That's why we got strangers and sojourners, because they seek peace. And they gave us 500 cores of wheat, 500 baths of oil, 500 measures of wine, until the famine when we went down into Egypt. And after these things, my son took to wife Tamar from Mesopotamia, a daughter of Aram. Now was wicked, and he was in need concerning Tamar, because she was not of the land of Canaan. And on the 3rd night, an angel of the Lord smote him, and he had not known her according to the evil craftiness of his mother, for he did not wish to have children by her. Yeah, so he was using birth control. I heard of people wearing condoms that's married. That's the same form of birth control. Spilling his seeds somewhere than where it's supposed to go, because he didn't wish to have children. Trying not to have children. Doing the same thing as did. You know what? Erred. That's what he did. Our Uncle call himself using birth control. In the days of the wedding feast, I gave Onan to her in marriage, and he also in wickedness knew her not, though he spent with her a year. And when I threatened him, he went in unto her, but he spilled the seed on the ground according to the command of his mother, and he also died through wickedness. And I wished to give Shelah also to her, but his mother did not permit it, for she wrought evil against Tamar, because she was not the daughters of Canaan, as she also herself was. See, his wife is doing what she think is best, out here getting her sons killed. After she got the first one killed, you think she'd have thought she was messing up somewhere. Now she'd have got the second one killed. 17, and I knew that the race of the Canaanites was wicked, but the impulse of youth blinded my mind. His wife is a Canaanite. So he messed up. As wicked as a woman could be, the man is still responsible for what he do. So he is suffering because he chose a Canaanite woman. You know, And now this Canaanite woman is doing what she do, following after the ways of her people and her idol gods, and now causing her children to transgress the covenant of the Most High, which shouldn't be a surprise. You know, it shouldn't be a surprise that these things happen. That's why we ain't supposed to marry these kinds of people, because this is what's going to happen. 18. And when I saw her pouring out wine, owing to the intoxication of wine, I was deceived. Because they want you, man. They want you. The people you're not supposed to have, they want you to get you in transgression. Look so pleasing to the eye. That's why that pork used to taste so good and that shrimp used to taste so good. You know why? Because you ain't supposed to have it. They got tricks for you. They know how to lay it out. They know how to smoke it and how to fry it, and how to bake it just right for you. That's what she doing. She pouring out wine. Get him drunk. She probably dressed good, smelling good at the party. Trying to get her a Hebrew boy. Said, owing to the intoxication of the wine, I was deceived and took her, although my father had not counseled it. Drunkenness will cause you to forget thy law. 19. And while I was away, she went and took for Shelah a wife from Canaan. So it's just wickedness abounds. She's not gonna just be wicked herself. She got to spread wickedness. So she then went and brought another Canaanite into the family. So she won't be by herself. Well, one demon leaves, 7 more wait to replace it. And when I knew what she had done, I cursed her in the anguish of my soul. And she also died through her wickedness together with her sons. You see how much Judah is having to pay for his moment of drunkenness. He didn't lost a wife, which he loved, which he wasn't supposed to love, right?
I think he got her in drunkenness anyway.
Yeah, he did. But he didn't lost her, and he didn't lost the sons he had by her. After these things, while Tamar was a widow, she heard after 2 years that I was going up to shear my sheep and adorn herself in bridal array, and sat in the city Anaim by the gate. For it was a law of the Amorites that she who was about to marry should sit in fornication 7 days by the gate. Therefore, being drunk with wine, I did not recognize her. See, which this is the thing. At this point, Judah is probably depressed, right? He didn't lost his wife, the love of his life, and he didn't lost his children. So he getting drunk all the time. He compensating his heartache and pain, his trauma with wine. In today's age, you might use weed and coke and Percocet, Vicodin, Xanax, right? Drunk with wine, I did not recognize her, and her beauty deceived me. That's a double drug right there. You got wine and beauty? Oh, it's a wrap. You ain't gonna know nothing about nothing at that point. Some get deceived just by the wine, and some, even our father David, been deceived just by the beauty. He got both of them going on. See, look, to take the house of a strong man, you got to first bind him. He double bound. He bound with the wine and he bound with the beauty. This man didn't kill whole cities. But wine and the beauty of a woman, he can't kill that, right? Through the fashion of her adorning, a whore's garment. She out there got her chest out, got her legs out, probably got on makeup.
She said she was adorning herself in bridal array. Is that what you think that's what they wore?
B, it says she out there selling. That's why he approached us like and said, how much? You think she was modest?
I'm just saying it says bridal array though.
Do you think she was modest?
I don't know. What was bridal array?
Why would a man come up to you and say, how much?
Where did it say he said that at? We didn't even get to that point.
It say that in the script. It say basically how much.
I think it did say that. And her face was covered. It said I think her face was covered in the regular script. It said I think she had like a veil on.
Man, he knew something. She had on something that said, I'm for sale. He walked up to her and said, how much? She said, give me your ring and your staff. No.
Oh, yeah.
She said a price or whatever. He was like, I'm going to give you this until I could get back home and send you the
that's
stuff.
How he knew who
yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
She out there on the stroll. Anyway, and I turned aside to her and said, let me go in unto thee. Let me get that. What's the tab on that? And she said, what wilt thou give me? Well, she asked him, what you got? And I gave her my staff and my girdle and the diadem of my kingdom in pledge. And I went in unto her, and she conceived. And not knowing what I had done, I wished to slay her. But she privily sent my pledges and put me to shame. And when I called her, because see, look, he didn't know who she was, but he had put his her away, like he knew her before, right? So he was still responsible to take care of her like a daughter. So he put her up somewhere and had her taken care of, right? So when he went back to check on her, he found out she was pregnant. Like, oh, you pregnant? So hold on, you got me taking care of you because you the widow of my sons, and you pregnant? Oh no. Oh no. You finna get it. So when he was about to kill her, it said, when I wished to slay her, she privily sent my pledges and put me to shame. It's like, no, I'm pregnant by you. This your ring, this your staff. And it said it put me to shame. And when I called her, I heard also the secret words which I spoke when lying with her in my drunkenness. And I could not slay her because it was from the Lord. He pillow talking, whispering in her ear. She put the file on 30. For I said, lest happily she did it in subtlety, having received the pledge from another woman. But I came not again near her while I lived, because I had done this abomination in all Israel. Moreover, because you're not supposed to, a father is not supposed to uncover the nakedness of his son's wife, and a son is not supposed to uncover the nakedness of his father's wife. That's the law, people. Moreover, they who were in the city said there was no harlot in the gate, because she came. See, he still don't believe it. She done told him what he said in the bed. She done sent his ring and his staff back. He's still checking. He need 2 or more witnesses, right? Moreover, they who were in the city said there was no harlot in the gate because she came from another place and sat for a while in the gate. And I thought that no one knew that I had gone in to her. And after this, we came into Egypt to Joseph because of the famine, and I was 46 years old, and 73 years lived I in Egypt. He counsels against wine and lust as twin evils. For he who is drunken reverenceth no man. Verse 1. And now I command you, my children, hearken to Judah your father, and keep my sayings to perform all the ordinances of the Lord. Now listen, black man, black woman, he is talking to you. You can claim all these other tribes if you want to, but I've read this part before. This is talking about us. And if you haven't heard this before, listen and tell me if I'm wrong about it. And I command you, my children, hearken to Judah your father, and keep my sayings to perform all the ordinances of the Lord, and to obey the commands of God, and to walk and walk not after your lusts, nor in the imaginations of your thoughts and haughtiness of heart, and glory not in the deeds and the strength of your youth, for this also is evil in the eyes of the Lord. Since I also glorified that in wars no comely woman's face ever enticed me, and reproved Reuben my brother concerning Bilhah, the wife of my father, the spirits of jealousy and of fornication arrayed themselves against me. See, this is what happened to Reuben. His father Jacob had a beautiful wife, Bilhah, and Reuben messed around and saw her naked one day, and he said, "I got to have some of that." So he ended up sleeping with her. So Judah is saying, "Listen, I talk bad about Reuben, but he said the same thing that happened to him ended up happening to me, until I lay with Bathshua the Canaanite and Tamar, who was a spouse to my sons. For I said to my father-in-law, I will take counsel with my father, and so will I take thy daughter." So he knew enough to say he need to ask his father about it. And he was unwilling, but showed me a boundless store of gold in his daughter's behalf, for he was a king. And he adorned her with gold and pearls, and caused her to pour out wine for us at the feast with the beauty of women. And the wine turned aside my eyes, and the pleasure blinded my heart. And I became enamored of, and I lay with her, and transgressed the commandment of the Lord and the commandment of my fathers, and I took her to wife. Look, it's a commandment that we don't sleep with these Canaanites, because Canaan is cursed. That's why white people try to say we Canaanites, because of all the problems that's happened to Negroes all over the world. They're trying to say we curse like the Canaanites. We have been given a curse, but our curse came from not keeping his commandments.
Was that you that posted that Book of Mormons where it was saying how the black skin was a curse?
Yeah, I shared it from somebody else though. Oh yeah. 9. And the Lord rewarded me according to the imagination of my heart, inasmuch as I had no joy in her children. Now here we have a man that makes his father proud. He doing good in the field. He got the sheep doing good, the cattle doing good. When he go to war, he killing everything moving. He just a great son to his father. But he said in his children, because his children came from sin, he said, I had no joy in those children. You're gonna have to pay for what you do. You have to pay one way or another. It ain't no getting around it. So watch what you do. Be considerate. Be circumspect. 10. And now, my children, I say unto you, be not drunk with wine, for wine turneth the mind away from the truth, and inspires the passion of lust, and leadeth the eyes into error. Now, when it says wine, you could relate this to anything that is an addiction, right? Because when you become addicted to something, addiction is an oppressor. Because when you're addicted, even if you want to stop, you can't. There's people that smoke cigarettes say, man, I want to stop, but man, I just can't quite. You being oppressed. You drunk. Because the truth would mean you want to quit it for a reason. You want to quit it because it ain't good for you. You want to quit it because it costs you too much money, or it's causing you health issues, right? That's the truth. But the drunkenness make you turn your mind away from the truth, people, and inspires the passion of lust. It's going to make you disregard the truth and make you focus on what you want to do. You want to get high. You want to smoke that cigarette. Or you want to drink wine to the point of drunkenness, to the point to where you don't want to do nothing else. Because the scriptures also say wickedness abounds. So you might say, I only smoke a cigarette a day, but I smoke it every day. Before too long, you go smoke 2. Then you go smoke 3. Then you go smoke a half a pack. Then you go smoke a whole pack. You might start off smoking a roach. Next thing you know, you're going to be smoking a joint. Then you're going to be smoking a blunt. Then you're going to smoke a pack of blunts. And then for too long, you're going to be well known at the weed spot. Right? And leadeth the eyes into error. For the spirit of fornication hath wine as a minister. Now we get into idolatry. You got a minister? Ministers are used with gods and with doctrines. So it said a spirit of fornication hath wine as the minister. So let me keep going. To give pleasure to the mind. For these two also take away the mind of a man. So when you mix fornication with wine, you know, sex, adultery, you know, mix that with the wine, you're going to lose your mind. You ever heard somebody say, you done lost your damn mind? That's what it is. For if a man drink wine to drunkenness, it didn't say if he drink it at all. If he drink it to drunkenness, it disturbeth the mind with filthy thoughts, leading to fornication. Right? And when you see fornication, don't just think sex. Don't always think sex, man. Because we are in covenant with the Most High. Covenant is another name for marriage. That's why he treats us, in one aspect, he treats us like sons and daughters. In another aspect, he treats us like a wife. That's why he said, thou shalt have no other God before me. Right? So when you got another God, when you got another master, right? That's why I said thou can only have one master, right? Because you're going to hate one and love the other. So when you start dealing with idols, right? When you get oppressed by something, that thing becomes your God. And therefore, at that point, you are fornicating against the Most High, against the covenant. So don't just think sex all the time when you see fornication. and heateth the body to carnal union. Let's read that over. 12. For if a man drink wine to drunkenness, it disturbeth the mind with filthy thoughts leading to fornication, and heateth the body to carnal union. And if the occasion of the lust be present, he worketh the sin and is not ashamed. Such is the inebriated man, my children, for he who is drunken reverenceth no man. For lo, it made me also to err, so that I was not ashamed of the multitude in the city, in that before the eyes of all I turned aside unto tomorrow, and I wrought a great sin, and I uncovered the covering of my son's shame. After I had drunk wine, I reverenced not the commandment of God, and I took a woman of Canaan to wife. For much discretion needeth the man who drinketh wine. Listen, if you ain't got a good head on your shoulders, you shouldn't be drinking wine. It ain't a sin to drink it, but if you ain't got no sense, you ought to leave it alone. It's like a clumsy man. If you know somebody that's clumsy sober, they don't need to drink wine, because they drink wine, they gonna kill themselves, right? For much discretion needeth the man who drink wine, my children, and herein is discretion in drinking wine. A man may drink so long as he preserveth modesty. That's what my was talking about the other night, Octave, when we was discussing about wine on the video. You know, it's lawful if you have much discretion and if you preserve it your modesty. I get a little sip here and there. But if he go beyond this limit, the spirit of deceit attacketh his mind, and it maketh the drunkard to talk filthily, and to transgress, and not to be ashamed, but even to glory in his shame, and to account himself honorable. He gonna act a damn fool and think he's doing all right. He's gonna say, I didn't do nothing wrong. I know I'm pissing in the street. I know I'm tripping and falling and throwing up. What you mean? I'm all right. I ain't drunk. That's how they do. I ain't drunk. I think you drunk as hell, dog. Nah, I'm cool. First of all, if somebody tell you you drunk, you drunk. They know you didn't lost your modesty at that point. If you are noticeably intoxicated, you didn't lost your modesty. Somebody said, man, you all right? Yeah, you lost it. You lost it at that point. 18. He that committed fornication is not aware when he suffers loss, and is not ashamed when put to dishonor. For even though a man be a king and commit fornication, he is stripped of his kingship by becoming the slave of fornication, as I myself also suffered. You know, David had to go through this. Everybody got to fall so it can be proven that they could get back up. Think about this now. Think about the scriptures. Think about all the great men of the scripts. They all had to fall. They all had to meet adversity in some form or fashion. Even Jacob. Jacob got played out of 7 years of his life. Then he got played for another 7. And he had to take that on the chin. You know what I'm saying? He was in fear because he was on the run from his brother who was a stone killer. That's another thing people don't want to talk about. Esau was stronger than Jacob. That's why he put him to flight. 20. For I gave my staff, that is, the stay of my tribe and my girdle, that is, my power, and my diadem, that is, the glory of my kingdom. And indeed, I repented of these things. Wine and flesh I eat not until my old age, nor did I behold any joy. And the angel of God showed me that forever do women bear rule over king and beggar alike. This is what one of the prophets talked about in his it was like a quiz or something that a king had put out, you know, about something about what's the most powerful thing in the world or something. You know, somebody said I'm like
when he was talking to
paraphrasing.
when he was talking to the three guys and he told them each to say what the most what was the most valuable thing or something like that.
Yeah.
He said something different.
And I want to say Daniel or
I think it could have been in Daniel.
one of the prophets, you know, said that it's a woman, right? Where we at?
Mine say 6, but you might say something different.
22. And the angel of God showed me that forever do women bear rule over king and beggar alike. And from the king they take away his glory, and from the valiant man his might, and from the beggar even that little which is the stay of his poverty. Was that the story of Jezebel? When the prophet came up and talked about it. Was that Jezebel? Because he talked about how the queen like slapped the king or something. She did something to the king, and he pointed it out. He was like, you see, King, even you know, King, you know what I'm talking about. You see what happened with your wife.
I don't know. I ain't never heard. I mean, I know she was back. See, I don't think she.
It's been a while since I read that.
Yeah, I don't think she did that to Ahab because
It was something, B, because he pointed out that even the king knows what he's saying is true because even he comes um uh subservient to the queen or something like that. I'm gonna have to read it again, man.
Because I mean, but I just
It's been a while since I read the story, but I am familiar to a certain degree with it. Uh 24. Observe therefore, my children, the limit. Observe therefore, my children, the right limit in wine. For there are in it 4 evil spirits. That's why the store in some areas is called spirits, wine and spirits. What's up with this? Lust of hot desire, of profligacy, of filthy lucre. If you drink wine in gladness, be ye modest in the fear of God. For if in your gladness the fear of God departed, then drunkenness ariseth, and shamelessness stealeth in. But if ye would live soberly, do not touch wine at all, lest ye sin in words of outrage, and in fightings, and slanders, and transgressions of the commandments of God, and ye perish before your time. Moreover, Wine revealeth the mysteries of God and men, even as I also revealed the commandments of God and the mysteries of Jacob my father to the Canaanitish woman, Bathsheba, which God bade me not to reveal. And wine is a cause both of war and confusion. And now I command you, my children, not to love money, nor to gaze upon the beauty of a woman, because for the sake of money and beauty I was led astray to Bathsheba the Canaanite. For I knew that because of these two things shall my face fall into wickedness. For even wise men among my sons shall they mar. This is prophecy. This is talking about the future. This is talking about now. For even wise men among my sons, Negro men and Negro women, shall they mar, and shall cause the kingdom of Judah to be diminished, which the Lord gave me because of my obedience to my father. Now, I mean, it applies to now, but it's also referring to the time where kings actually reigned, you know, with Solomon and Jeroboam and Rehoboam and all those kings, you know, a lot of them did wickedness. For I never caused grief to Jacob my father, for all things whatsoever he commanded I did. And Isaac, the father of my father, blessed me to be king in Israel. And Jacob further blessed me in like manner. And I know that from me shall the kingdom be established. And I know what evils ye will do in the last days. Beware, therefore, my children, of fornication, the love of money, cash, hoes. Is that what that is? That the motto now? And hearken to Judah your father. For these things withdraw you from the law of God, and blind the inclination of the soul, and teach arrogance, and suffer not a man to have compassion upon his neighbor. You know why niggas killing each other? For money. You know what they do before they kill each other? They get high and they get drunk, or they get high and they get drunk when they get back from killing each other. They rob his soul of all goodness and oppress him with toils and troubles, and drive away sleep from him and devour his flesh. You see people dying from rotted liver, cirrhosis. You got some people stink. They got liquor coming out they pores. When they sweat liquor. You ever work with one of them? It's nasty. Anyway, and he hindereth the sacrifices of God, and he remembereth not the blessings of God. He hearkeneth not to the prophet when he speaketh, and he resenteth the words of godliness. You know, when people hate, when Bible people come around, oh man, go on somewhere with all that Bible talk. Man, go on somewhere, man. Don't nobody want to hear about that stuff all the time. That's how they talk to you. You know why? Because they drunk. They might say, I don't even drink. Well, you drunk with the world.
That is possible.
You drunk with Western mindset. You drunk with your music. You drunk with your TV. You drunk with your job.
There's a scripture that even says that. It says they're drunk, but not with wine. It says that.
You drunk, but not with wine. You know, and a lot of it boils down to lust of the flesh. You can't give up something. When somebody talk to you about not smoking cigarettes and you smoke cigarettes, guess what you said? Man, I don't want to hear that. Man, go on somewhere. I got it. He just said you be drunk and you think yourself honorable. People smoke cigarettes, they say, man, you know what, man, I got it, man. I'm cool. I'm cool, man. I ain't addicted like that. I could quit. I just ain't ready. They think if they self-honorable, man, and they drunk.
Isaiah 29. It says,
Isaiah 29, hold on.
Stay yourself and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
They are drunken with not with wine, but not with wine. They stagger, but not from strong drink. Oh, you drunk. 41. For he is a slave to two contrary passions, and cannot obey God because they have blinded his soul. And he walketh in the day as in the night. My children, the love of money leadeth to idolatry. Because when led astray through money, men name as gods those who are not gods, and causeth him who hath it to fall into madness. This is the rich young ruler. When Hamashiach told him which laws to keep, he left out the top 4. Where you talk about honoring the Most High, not having idols, not having no other God before him. You know why? Because money was his idol. And he summed it up when he told him, sell everything you have and give it to the poor and follow me. You know what? He couldn't depart with it. He couldn't part with his idol. The Most High could be telling some of y'all, quit your job and keep the Sabbath. And I'm like, nah, see, my God want me to have money and take care of my family. Anyway, continue. For the sake of money, I lost my children. I had not my repentance. This is another thing. What you won't give up for the Most High, he gonna take from you anyway. And he gonna take the reason you wouldn't give it up for. You don't want to give it up because you don't want to lose, your cars, your houses. You don't want to hurt your family. You're going to end up losing your cars and your houses anyway. And you're going to lose your family. He got to take it. He got to take it. It ain't no getting around, especially if you know better. It's different if you just breaking Shabbat, but you don't know anything about it. You don't know what's required of you. But if you know what's required of you, you still doing it? Problem, man. For the sake of money, I lost my children, and I had not my repentance, and my humiliation, and the prayers of my father been accepted. I should have died childless. But the God of my fathers had mercy on me, because I did it in ignorance. And the prince of deceit blinded me, and I sinned as a man, and as flesh being corrupted through sins. And I learned my own wickedness while thinking myself invincible. Know, therefore, my children, that 2 spirits wait upon man, the spirit of truth and the spirit of deceit. And in the midst is the spirit of understanding of the mind, to which it belongeth to turn whatsoever it will. And the works of truth and the works of deceit are written upon the hearts of men, and each one of them the Lord knoweth. And there is no time at which the works of men can be hid, for on the heart itself have they been written down before the Lord. And the spirit of truth testifieth all things, and accuseth all, and the sinner is burnt up by his own heart, and cannot raise his face to the judge. Judah makes a vivid smile concerning tyranny and a dire prophecy concerning the morals of his listeners. And now, my children, I command you, love Levi, that ye may abide, and exalt not yourselves against him, lest ye be utterly destroyed. Here he's telling, think about this. Judah has been told he's going to be a king, that his children are going to be kings over his brothers. Now he's telling his children, future kings or probable future kings, because they don't know at what point the kingship will be established, right? So he's telling them, exalt not yourselves against Levi. Don't go telling Levi, we gonna be the kings. We better than y'all. We the kings. He said, don't exalt yourself against them. It said, lest ye be utterly destroyed. That's the priesthood. The kingship don't outrank the priesthood. You got to be a priest first and a king second. That's why we're a nation of kings and priests. You're supposed to be a priest first. The priesthood is more important than the kingship. Just something to think on. A lot of people they run around calling themselves kings and queens. They exalting themselves, right? When they ought to be calling themselves priests and priestesses. That's the higher honor. But the Western mindset tells you the king is the most important. The kings never talk to the angels. The priests, the ones that talk to them face to face, and the prophets. Just something to think about. Even King David had to go through the priests and through the prophets. And he was after the Most High's own heart. The Most High loved him. Even he had to go through a middleman. Think about that for a second. All you non-messianics, who your middleman? There ain't no priesthood. You got to go through Melchizedek to the Hamashiach, the intercessor, the high priest. But you non-messianic though. Anyway, for to me the Lord gave the kingdom, and to him the priesthood, and he set the kingdom beneath the priesthood. To me he gave the things upon the earth, to him the things in the heavens. As the heaven is higher than the earth, so is the priesthood of God higher than the earthly kingdom, unless it falls away through sin from the Lord and is dominated by the earthly kingdom. As we know, Levi did falter in the time of Hamashiach. The priests were given to lewdness and drunkenness and lustfulness of money and wealth. They robbed the people of their goods. That's why quote unquote Jesus came in flipping tables and whipping folks with whips, because the priesthood had started to spoil the people, and defiled the office that they carried and caused a reproach against the Most High. That's why he flipped over tables. Anyway, for the angel of the Lord said unto me, the Lord chose him rather than thee to draw near to him and to eat of his table and to offer him the first fruits of the choice things of the sons of Israel. But thou shalt be king of Jacob, and thou shalt be amongst them as the sea. For as on the sea, just and unjust are tossed about, some taken into captivity, while some are enriched. So also shall every race of men be in thee. Some shall be impoverished, being taken captive, and others grow rich by plundering the possessions of others. These are the wicked kings. There were righteous kings, but the most of them came out wicked. For the king shall be as sea monsters, and they shall swallow men like fishes. And the sons and daughters of free men shall they enslave. They enslaved them with idols too, had them worshiping Molech and you know, all kinds of things that the kings of Judah became through idolatry. They was marrying different women, you know, and just being given over to all kinds of wickedness. And if you think about it, Solomon had all them different wives. So you got different people from different places with different belief systems all around the children. So now you got the children coming up with these different mindsets. And they privileged and they coming up rich and they doing all kind of shenanigans and whatnot. It's, you know, a bad apple spoils the bunch. And with the flesh of many shall they wrongfully feed the ravens and the cranes. And they shall advance in evil, in covetousness uplifted. And there shall be false prophets like tempests, and they shall persecute all righteous men. And the Lord shall bring upon them divisions, one against another. That's why we got black crime. Black on black crime. It's a real thing. Some people try to act like it's not a real thing. Oh, it's real. We divided. We divided. Now, white people got something to do with it, but they are the tool the Most High uses to bring about these things. White supremacy is a whipping belt of the Most High. So that through all our persecutions, through all our turmoil, we cry out to him. You know what happens when a black man is killed? His mama crying out to the Most High for help. The people that look on, they crying out to the Most High for change and for help. That's what it takes to change some of us, because we so caught up in wickedness, ain't nothing gonna change us but destruction. Trials of fire. So try not to be hard-headed, because you don't know what the Most High gonna bring on you to crack that hard head for you. You don't know what he gonna bring. So be careful. But he said, don't be sorry, be careful. And there shall be continual wars in Israel, and among men of another race shall my kingdom be brought to an end, until the salvation of Israel shall come, until the appearing of God of righteousness, and until the appearing of the God of righteousness, that Jacob and all the Gentiles may rest in peace. Jacob and who? All the Gentiles? And he shall guard the might of my kingdom forever. For the Lord aware to me with an oath that he would not destroy the kingdom from my seed forever. For the Lord swear to me. I got a typo on mine. For the Lord swear to me with an oath that he would not destroy the kingdom from my seed forever. Now I have much grief, my children, because of your lewdness and witchcrafts. You know, there is a group of black witches, a sisterhood of witches. Look it up. I think they got a Facebook page. There is a sisterhood of witches in Yasharal. And a lot of them claim they Hebrews at that. And idolatries, which ye shall practice against the kingdom. You're going to fight against your own people. You're going to fight against your own kind with lewdness and witchcrafts and idolatries. ye shall practice against the kingdom, following them that have familiar spirit, homosexuality, pedophilia, transgenderism. These are familiar spirits, people. You got to be possessed to partake in some of this stuff. Well, in any of it, really. Diviners and demons of error. Ye shall make your daughters singing girls. Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion. They singing girls. And harlots. That's another word for whores. Okay? Prostitutes. Sluts. And ye shall mingle in the abominations of the Gentiles. You're going to be keeping Christmas and Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. You're not going to be keeping Feast of Unleavened Bread, Feast of Tabernacles, Atonement, Feast of Weeks. You're not going to keep that. You're going to keep Valentine's Day and Easter and the 4th of July. The abominations of the Gentiles. For which things' sake the Lord shall bring upon you famine and pestilence, death and the sword. People think Jacob's trouble is coming. Let me tell you what I believe. Jacob's trouble been coming, right? If you know anything about the Arabian slave trade, and then you learn about the Inquisition in Spain and Portugal. You learn about the Inquisition from Mexico. When you learn about slavery in America, when you learn about Jim Crow laws, you realize Jacob's trouble been going on. But what is coming, I believe, and a lot of my brethren also believe, I'm not the only one, is that the people that refuse to come out of the Western mindset, that refuse to come out of the church and the wickedness and the abominations of the Gentiles, the people that refuse to come out of that, they got to die. Because the Most High been punishing us. In each generation, there was people of us that refused to come out of the abominations of the Gentiles. In the Inquisition, there was black people joining up with the Catholic Church. In the Arabian thing, you had black Hebrews converting to Islam. And they always paid. They always died for what they did. Now, the people in the church, the people in Christianity, it's going to come a time where if they don't repent and turn from their evil ways to put down these people's stuff, they are going to die. Because it's a lot of deception that's coming. You see people wearing masks and gloves. They're scared to death. They're scared. They don't have a trust in the Most High. They don't trust in them because they know deep down they wicked. They got stuff going on, you know. So that fear is going to lead them to take these shots, to take these, to run up into these hospitals, right? Seeking something other than the protection and the guidance of the Most High. And that's what's going to kill them. They lust and these abominations is going to kill them. Then they're going to say, oh, it's Jacob's trouble. No. It's Jacob's payday. That's what it is. Time to pay up. But anyway, Some of you don't believe it. That's a hard saying for some of you. They say they don't want to hear godliness when they drunk. But you're going to hear it today. Anyway, for which things sake the Lord shall bring upon you famine and pestilence, death and the sword, beleaguering by enemies, and the revilings of friends, the slaughter of children. People don't know who their God is, man. The Most High will, but see, He gonna slaughter your children, but it's gonna be you slaughtering your children. Because if you had amended your ways, you and your household would be safe. So it's you killing your children. It's gonna be you getting your wives raped. It's gonna be you getting your possessions plundered because you refuse to turn from your wickedness, right? The burning of the temple of God, right? Now, we don't have a physical temple now or a building, but we got bodies. They're going to burn some of your bodies. But it's a hard saying, man. It's hard. I understand. The laying waste of the land, the enslavement of yourselves among the Gentiles. And ye shall make some of you eunuchs for their wives. They're going to chop your penises off. That's what an eunuch is. And if you look up the Spanish Inquisition, when white people came into power and took our kingships in Spain and in Portugal, they had black slaves. And the black slaves, they chopped their penises off so they wouldn't sleep with their wives and with their daughters. This you could go in Google and find out this right here for sure. They still doing it to this day. I think a couple years ago, they found like 300 black boys with their penises cut off. They was dead, but their penises was cut off. If I'm not mistaken, Booker T. Washington, that did all them things with the peanuts, he had his penis cut off because he got adopted by a white family, and to keep him from sleeping with their daughters, they cut his penis off. That was his fascination with peanuts, I guess. I don't know. Until the Lord visit you, when with perfect heart ye shall repent. This is a future prophecy. Until the Lord visit you, when with perfect heart ye repent and walk in all his commandments, and he bring you up from captivity among the Gentiles. And after these things shall a star arise to you from Jacob in peace, and a man shall arise from my seed, like the Son of righteousness, walking with the sons of men in meekness and righteousness. And no sin shall be found in him. And the heavens shall be opened unto him to pour out the Spirit, even the blessing of the Holy Father, and he shall pour out the Spirit of grace upon you, and ye shall be unto him sons in truth, and ye shall walk in his commandments first and last. Then the scepter of my kingdom shine forth, and from your roots shall arise a stem, and from it shall grow a rod of righteousness to the Gentiles, to judge and to save all that call upon the Lord. And after these things shall Abraham and Isaac and Jacob arise unto life, and I and my brethren shall be chiefs of the tribes of Israel. Levi first, I the second, Joseph the third, Benjamin the fourth, Simeon the fifth, Issachar the sixth, and so all in order. And the Lord blessed Levi, and the angel of the presence, me, and the powers of glory, Simeon, the heaven, Reuben, the earth, Issachar, the sea, Zebulun, the mountains, Joseph, the tabernacle, Benjamin, the luminaries, Dan, Eden, Naphtali, the sun, Gad, the moon, Asher. And ye shall be the people of the Lord, and have one tongue. And there shall be there no spirit of deceit of Belial, That's the devil, whatever you want to call it, Hasatan. For he shall be cast into the fire forever. And they who have died in grief shall arise in joy. And they who were poor for the Lord's sake shall be made rich. And they who are put to death for the Lord's sake shall awake to life. The martyrs, the prophets, and the hearts of Jacob shall run in joyfulness, and the eagles of Israel shall fly in gladness, and all the people shall glorify the Lord forever. Observe, therefore, my children, all the law of the Lord, for there is hope for all them who hold fast unto his ways. And he said to them, behold, I die before your eyes this day. I, 119 years old. Let no one bury me in costly apparel, nor tear open my bowels. For this shall they who are kings do, and carry me up to Hebron with you. And Judah, when he had said these things, fall asleep, and his sons did according to all whatsoever he commanded them, and they buried him in Hebron with his fathers. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
All praise to the Most High. Hopefully some of you enjoyed this video. Hope you got something from it. Shabbat shalom to the brethren. Peace out to everybody else. Until the next time, shalom.
You don't waste no time.